And the last ingredient there, or second last I should say, is your lemon juice. So lemon juice straight in. I've got half that lemon there if we need a little bit more liquid, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That was easy. So we will blend that straight up. And you can see there that even though it isn't your food processor, it's still doing the job of blending it right up. Simple. So this can be served with a multiple of things. You can cut up. It's a great way to get kind of all of your vegetables in to use as serving implements, your carrot, your capsicum, cucumber and the like. Or alternatively, a good thing to do is to grab your flat Lebanese bread, your pita breads. You just cut them up with scissors. That's the best way to do it. Just clean some of your kitchen shears. Just cut them straight up. Put them on a tray, just one layer. So often your pita breads have those 2 layers, so just split them up and then just bake them in the oven. And so they become nice and crispy, and you can do things like maybe put a little bit of oil on there if you want to, or also put on your herbs, your rosemary and those sorts of things, and you can use those as a bit of a chip. And that's a really useful way to know everything that's going into your body.
When it comes to health, people like to talk about what we put in our mouths. And unfortunately, in today's society, there is a lot of popping of pills that, in my opinion, is unnecessary. So that is the motivation for this talk, really. Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food is a good proverb. However, drugs still do have their place. But when it comes to putting things in your mouth, I like to start with food and ask, can the objective be achieved by using food? Foods to fight entamoeba, that's another microscopic parasite, amoeba, and garlic and psyllium husks. Psyllium husks come from a plant called plantain. Who's heard of plantain? This is a plantain I got from our garden this morning. I'm sorry, it's not the most perfect specimen, but if anyone wants to have a look at this at close range later on, this is a narrow leaf plantain, and psyllium husks actually come from the seeds of the plantain plant. And the plantain plant itself is edible. You can eat the leaves. I've eaten the leaves myself. They're excellent to put in green smoothies and have a number of fascinating properties. So you can use the leaf as a food. It's not the kind of food you would want to live off. It's an excellent laxative. So if you suffer from constipation, plantain leaves as a food are a brilliant addition to the diet and will probably cure most cases of constipation if you have enough, particularly if you combine it with a little bit of aloe vera, which you can also grow and put in your diet as well. But the plantain leaves are anti-parasitic, and so is the husk. So the whole plant appears to be anti-parasitic. It's an anti-helminthic, so you can use it for worms, and it's a great gut tonic. In fact, it has a number of interesting properties, the plantain plant. Beans in general are quite high in lysine, low in arginine, so other beans in your diet, if you can tolerate them. Beetroot, so beetroot, this is a beetroot we grew in our garden. It's easy to grow in Victoria, and yes, it's good for high lysine and low arginine. The lowly potato, mango, pawpaw, apricot and apple. So there they are. those foods are the ones that are friendly for fighting herpes. These ones are the ones that are something you have to be careful of when it comes to herpetic infections. The classic one is a chocolate and peanut bar. This is dangerous for herpes. I know we all like a bit of sugar and fat, but you will need to find alternatives if herpes is an issue for you. It took me a while to find this too. This is the most recent top 20 antioxidant foods that are available for us to eat to get antioxidants. So antioxidants are the remedy for free radicals. So the first most potent food known so far that I've come across in this big study. By the way, this study comes from the Journal of Agriculture and Food Chemistry. This is a very large, a very big journal, one of the biggest in the world, I understand. Published this in 2004. So the small red bean is the top of the list. What is a small red bean? The small red bean is also called the Mexican red bean. It's actually not that easy to come across in Australia, but from what I can understand, it looks like a mung bean, except it's red. So, am I familiar with it? Yeah, if you can find it, it's worth using. Wild blueberries are second on the list, and then comes the lowly red kidney bean. So red kidney beans are definitely a good addition to your diet for antioxidant, because you can eat a fair few red kidney beans compared with some of the other things, and you will get a lot of antioxidants from these. They need to be soaked, of course, overnight, and then you can boil them up. Pinto beans come next, so another bean. Basically, the message for antioxidants, if you want a lot of antioxidants from food, the two biggest food groups are beans and berries.